Hello everybody, hope you're all doing well. It's Lane here with MetaShackle. Today I just wanted to take a quick look at a crypto that I've never covered on the channel before, called Axelar, which was recommended by a viewer of the channel. And after thinking about it a little bit, I went and looked at the charts, and I really liked what I saw. Then I started digging into it a little bit more, doing some additional research, because I've heard of it, but I didn't really know that much about it. And the more I dug, the wider my smile got, and the more I started to like what I was seeing. So let's not waste any more time, and let's get into the chart. And if you like the work that I do here, a great way to support me is by joining the Patreon. It's only because of the generosity of my viewers and my Patreon members that I'm able to do what I do. So it's definitely something to consider if you'd like to support my work. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. In regard to one of the polls that I had posted the other day, having to do with the viewer's choice videos, one of the viewers, right here, John Wynn, 3287, put this response in the comments, says, "Is there any chance that you can do AXL coin one day?" And it had been quite a while since I'd even bothered looking at the Axelar charts, and after taking a look, it didn't take long for me to realize that there could be a really good opportunity here. So I just want to thank you, John. I really appreciate you pointing that out and getting me to take a look at it, because I've already started to build a position, and we'll be looking to add to that position moving forward, because it does look like to me there's a lot of possibility here for some upside potential, especially in terms of a long-term investment. Now, it says here that Axelar is a Ripple partner. The two organizations have entered into a strategic collaboration to enhance the interoperability of Ripple's XRP ledger across multiple blockchain networks. This partnership, announced in February 2024, aims to create seamless connectivity between the XRPL and over 55 other blockchains connected through Axelar's network. The integration leverages Axelar's general messaging passing (GMP) technology, enabling developers to execute function calls on smart contracts across different chains, thereby fostering a more unified experience for decentralized applications, dApps, utilizing XRP. That sounds great. Collaboration extends to the development of the XRPL Ethereum Virtual Machine EVM sidechain, where Axelar serves as the exclusive bridge to source the native gas token, Wrapped XRP EXRP, from the XRPL mainnet. This integration is designed to unlock new use cases for XRP, particularly in the decentralized finance, DeFi, and the tokenization of real-world assets, which Ripple's CTO David Shorts identifies as a key driver for the blockchain economy. Axelar's role is not limited to bridging. It also contributes to the security and scalability of cross-chain transactions through its permissionless proof-of-stake validation and multi-signature contracts with 32 validators. The Axelar Foundation has expressed excitement about the integration, highlighting the XRPL's addition as a powerhouse of DeFi and RWA innovation within the growing Axelar ecosystem. This partnership has spurred institutional interest, which is fabulous, including the launch of the Canary AXL Trust, an institutional-grade fund tracking the Axelar AXL token, further solidifying the relationship between the two entities. That's absolute great news, because anybody who watches this channel knows that I'm a big fan of XRP as well as Ripple. And just by jumping over to CoinMarketCap really quickly, you can see right here that the all-time high for Axelar was at $2.66. We're currently about 88.83% below the all-time high, which was hit 2 years ago. Now, the all-time low was hit on April 7th, 2025, 6 months ago, at right around 27 cents 45. So currently, Axelar is only trading just a little over 8% above its all-time low. Now, that's what I would call getting in on the ground floor. Now, first off, taking a look at the weekly chart, this gives you an idea of what we're dealing with in this pattern overall. Going back to the very beginning, right here in October 2022, you can see that the price basically fell down, moving into this really nice 5-wave move to the upside. We then had an impulsive move to the downside with a small correction, another impulsive move to the downside, and we're currently playing around in what looks to be a diagonal pattern right here that's currently working on the 5th wave. Price has been trading within this larger descending wedge pattern, which basically started to form all the way back in November of 2023. So this has been forming for quite some time, having 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 waves thus far, and on the 6th pushing to the downside. We can also see, zooming in here on the weekly, that there is a slight divergence between this point here on the indicator versus the price and this point here, as the price is moving down, but the indicator is actually moving upward. Now jumping over to the daily, we've zoomed in on the diagonal pattern that's at the very end of the price action. So you can see that this ABC ended here. Price fell down, started forming this diagonal. It's currently on the 5th wave of that diagonal, which is descending. The all-time low is marked out by this line right here, going back to the 5th point of this impulsive move to the downside. So you can see price recently, on September 30th, came very close to touching this all-time low. Now there's basically never been a better time to buy Axelar than right here or right here. Anybody who's bought Axelar other than those 2 points has paid more. And one thing that you will oftentimes see in charts similar to this, it's not a guarantee that it's going to happen, but you'll see this happen, is the liquidity that's resting below this previous low right here. As people have been trading this back and forth buying positions, a lot of these people have put their stop loss below this previous low. So what you get is a buildup of liquidity down here. So it would almost seem to make sense to me that if the price does continue to move slightly to the downside, we could see this 5th wave come down here, taking out the all-time low and sweeping some of the lower liquidity resting down in this range. And if it does this, it would basically be giving you the opportunity to buy it at the lowest price since Axelar has been trading, buying right down here. And that seems like it could present a very good opportunity. There's certainly no guarantees that it's going to be a good opportunity, but I would much rather be buying down here than anywhere else in this entire pattern since it's been trading, with perhaps the exception of this point right here, which would have been very hard to pull off, seeing as how it's a liquidation candle that lasted 1 day. So I've already started to build a position in Axelar. I will continue to add to it if I'm lucky enough to get it cheaper. And as the price moves down, assuming that's the case, I'll just continue to dollar cost average. If price moves up, I will look to buy more on retests of fair value gaps to the downside. And there might not be a lot of time here depending on what happens in the market, because if this does break out, it's definitely looking like it's got to be getting close, being on the 5th wave. That doesn't mean that it can't trade sideways and mess around in here, but from what I can see, this chart looks incredible, and it would be very hard to argue with that. And what I've talked about in the past before, we've already thrown one green candle right here on the Gaussian channel with the price pulling back. And a lot of times, as I've talked about recently, this green candle can be a tip-off of sorts that we're going to see a move to the upside soon. A lot of times we'll see this green candle form, then we'll see a nice consolidation, then price will break out above the Gaussian channel. So that's another thing that I'll be watching for. Now jumping over and taking a look at the liquidation heat map. This is the 3-month chart. You can see that liquidity is fairly sparse on this chart, with very little resting below that previous low we were just talking about. There is a pretty thick band of liquidity resting up here, way above current price, at about 45 cents, another band right here at about 45 and a quarter, all the way up to about that 46.2 range. Now jumping down to the 3-day, we can get a better idea of the amount of liquidity resting below the current price. We've got a thick band right here at about 28.7, another thick band here at about 28.5. But overall, there's not much liquidity resting below the current price, and it doesn't go near as deep as you would think. Coming down here at about that 28-cent range, perhaps there is more below this, we just can't see it. But when looking at the chart here, you can see that a move down from the current price would basically represent about a 6% difference there is a very thick band of liquidity resting right here just above current price at about 31 cents. And price is already starting to move in that general direction. But all in all, this looks very interesting to me. I really like what I was seeing on the charts. I really like the fact that it's sitting near the all-time low, especially if you can pick some up dollar cost averaging in below that, because you would essentially be getting it at the best price since it's been traded. That doesn't mean it will only dip below it. It might push into it pretty deep, but that's where the dollar cost averaging comes in. So I just wanted to go over this really quick, as it looks like there could be a very good opportunity here for people who want to invest, perhaps even opportunity for traders. I've started my position, and I'm going to continue to add to that position until I get to the point I've already determined that I would like to get to. As my plan is to add this to my long-term holdings in cold storage, with the percentage of it being held in a spot position so that I can take profits on it to reduce my risk when the timing's right. And if you would like to leverage trade, or you're just looking for a place to swap your cryptos for zero fees, definitely take a look at BitUnix. You won't regret it. BitUnix is the only place that I trade crypto. So thank you so much for watching. I appreciate each and every single one of you. Good luck and have a great day.